Today is a flip-through of a journal that I have been working on and can't wait to show you. I call this journal the Night Gem, with the subtle hints of pink with greens and grays. The journal is a semi-soft cover made from Tyvek. The hidden spine has a black leather piece that I have embossed and inlaid with silver studs. Holding the solid clear crystals are leather straps with more silver studs. Original keys from long ago adorn the front with a unique closure and leather strap to keep this journal closed when not writing and jotting down your treasured thoughts. Hi everyone, Patty here, and let's get into the story how the Night Gem is located. A few pages of a ship's ledger, that's where this adventure begins. A ledger that is over 700 years old appears to hold keys to where a jewel that had long thought lost, but now flames those fires of desire to find this mysterious jewel, the Night Gem. While on vacation in Barcelona, Spain, I have found myself off the beaten track. In a small town of Porto, on the coast of Portugal, and in an old bookstore with many old and historic items. Now I would like to say that this was just an outing for the day, and I have just happened onto this bookstore, as I'm supposed to be on vacation, just relaxing and taking in the sights. But I have heard of this bookstore from many in persons and in writing from this store holds many mysteries and secrets of centuries past. So the chances of me not going to this store were slight, if not impossible. As I enter the store, it appears what one might imagine, many old books and the usual items found throughout my travels around the world. As the owner of the store sees my interest, draws me to the older and less popular items. She asks if I would like to see some of the special treasures she has stashed away. She leads me to a back room where there are many books, journals, statues, jewelry, and other precious treasures. As I'm transported through time and lost in the moment all at once, suddenly my eyes become fixed on pages from a ledger. A few pages that speak of a ship and a voyage from Spain to what was supposed to be England. But from my research, the ship Adventure Audace, or Bold Adventure, ran into a hurricane and drove the ship and its crew hundreds of miles to the west, to what I think is modern-day Cuba, and then on to what is now Florida. Hundreds of years before Columbus sailed the Atlantic. Next to the ledger are maps that appear to be of Spain, the Atlantic, and more importantly, the coast of the Americas. Cuba and Florida are very well portrayed for that time, some 700 years ago, with little change to present day. What is the most exciting is that the maps seem to be written in the same handwriting as the ledger, that of what I think is most certainly of the Captain Antonio. As I read the pages of the ledger, I see mention of the voyage, of violent storms, and, of course, the treasure that has long thought lost, hidden by hundreds of years and countless stories of where it might be at this time. This ledger appears to be in the handwriting of the captain, known only as Antonio. He speaks of his treasure holding many exciting items, gold coins and artifacts, sculptures of ivory, jewelry crafted for queens and monarchs. But of course, the prize of this bounty is the piece called the Night Gem. This piece was said to be crafted by the leading artist of that time, a special design that was to be part of a dowry to arrange a marriage between a prince of Spain and a prince of England. This one-of-a-kind handcrafted piece had a center stone of alexandrite, said to be 25 carats, surrounded by diamonds and emeralds, all at least 5 to 10 carats, each set in a solid gold mounting. And while most known the value and desire of diamonds, gold, and emeralds, alexandrite was a most rare and valuable gem, a gem that had mysterious and mythical stories that surrounded it for its dramatic change, in color from greenish yellow in sunlight to a crimson glow as the light of the sun faded to night. found in mines in what is now called Russia. It took long and expensive journeys to obtain this precious jewel. Said to be kind of a chrysoberyl, gems of 1 to 2 carats are eagerly sought after. Those up to 5 carats are very hard to find and very expensive, and as mentioned earlier, the jewel the ledger speaks of is said to be 25 carats. And while the information about the makeup of the precious jewels and metals that were used to create this masterpiece would make this design worth millions and millions of dollars, the historical implications of this find would dwarf any monetary price. As my focus returns to the bookstore and the ledger pages that has so taken my imagination swirling across time, I study all of the pages and find many keys that speak of not only the jewel, but also of the planned journey of the voyage. Time to approach owner of the store to see just what it will take to obtain this ledger page. She has already anticipated my request and has a counter offer before I speak. She's not willing to sell or give up the ledger pages, but she will lease the pages to me for a year on 2 stipulations. One, that I leave my necklace with her as collateral. She has a very discerning eye, for my necklace is not only a very treasured piece given to me by somebody very special, holding great personal value, but also is quite valuable in a monetary way. Her second stipulation is a part or percentage of what it is I am speaking, both of riches and recognition. Of course, my first question is, what do you think it is that I'm seeking? She smiles and shows me a copy of a magazine where there is an article about my adventures of searching for other treasures. Some found, others still seeking. She looks me straight in the eye and says, I saw your face glow with excitement as you examine the ledger pages. They hold keys to some adventures and her treasures. I turn to her and tell her that is very true, and that it could unlock a mystery over 700 years old. She tells me that has been her desire all of her life, to find a hidden treasure hidden by time and distance. That is why she opened this store, to collect artifacts and relics from distant times and places, to find a story she could be part of. And while her obligations to family and her home keep her looking for this adventure within the writings and collections of these many books and artifacts, this could be her chance to be part of an actual finding, a real treasure. We have a special connection, one of both wonder and excitement, but also, and more importantly, one of having to solve the puzzle. We cannot turn away from it. We spent the next several hours over lunch, exchanging personal contact, information, and just what this journey we are embarking on might bring. We agree upon her stipulations, and I remove my necklace. That has not been off my neck in many years, and I gave it to her. Take care of it. It is very precious to me, and I will be back for it. With that, we give each other a long hug, as though we've known each other for a lifetime. I make my way back to the shore, where I take a boat back to a small airport on the coast just north of Porta. The plane ride is just over an hour, and we land in Barcelona, and I'm soon back at my hotel. Now my trip, my long-anticipated vacation, was supposed to be for 2 weeks, and while I have only been here 2 days, I find myself on the phone making reservations for the first flight back to the U.S. I can hardly hold back my desire to compare my paperwork and copies of other articles on the night gym to what I truly think are original pages from the ledgers of the ship Adventura Audaz, with the most accurate translation in English, Bold Adventure. In Spanish, meaning daring and or risky, a most compelling and meaningful description of the journey of this ship and its captain, Antonio, and his crew, of which my friend, Marsala, in Porta, and I now find ourselves a part of. The plane ride seems to take much longer than usual, but as I find myself back home in the U.S., I can't seem to slow down. I go to my car in the parking garage and point it straight at home. After a short trip, I'm soon at my house, and any thoughts of unpacking or relaxing have left me. I find myself in my study going through every file, magazine, and computer directory that might have any mention of my quest, the night chimp. After several hours and stacks of information, I finally crash. It is 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have been going strong for over 28 hours. This will all be here in the morning, and I certainly will see clear with fresh eyes and thoughts. As I wake up, a hot and relaxing shower is calling to me. The shower did its trick. I dress and open all of the curtains. It's a beautiful day out, and the sun is radiant. I take time to fix a cup of hot tea, but am way too excited to eat anything. As I begin to go through all of the information I dug out last night, there it is, the report from an expedition from the early 1900s. It speaks of a ship that was discovered in the Florida Keys. From what they could manage to reconstruct, it appears to be a ship called the Bold Adventure, and it seems the crew ran it ashore intentionally. From other information I have pieced together over the years, the ship ran into another storm as it set sail from Cuba and headed north to Florida. From other reports and the practice at the time, it is likely that the captain and the crew thought to run the ship aground and take the cargo and treasure ashore to hide it until they could make a plan to return to Spain. Time to make plans for a trip to the Florida Keys and make some phone calls. My first call is to Gabrielle. It might be a coincidence that she is Spanish, but she is also the best researcher in the business. My next call is to Jake. He is a little crazy, but once again, he is the best tracker, scout out there is. And he's not only fearless and built like a chiseled athlete. One more call, Terry. She's a fixer. She makes all of the arrangements, travel plans, and solves any and all problems that come up. While Terry and I meet up locally and get everything ready for the trip, Gabrielle and Jake plan to meet in the Keys and start to make a plan of action. The next day we arrive in the Keys, where we meet with a local driver that takes us out to a small airport where a bush plane that we are assured Gabrielle rented and made the plans for us to meet her and Jake out at a small island. Gabrielle and Jake are there to meet us when we land, and both seem way more excited than usual. Jake is the first to talk. You won't believe what we have found. All of us head for a small shack that they have set up as headquarters. As we enter the shack, there are maps, reports, and scores of paperwork everywhere. Gabrielle has done it again. It looks like she has found every piece of information on the ship, the Bold Adventure, in the state of Florida. With all the information that I have brought and what they have gathered here, we should be able to coordinate a location to begin our search. With the maps that I brought and those that Gabrielle gathered, comparing it all, it appears that much of it goes together, but also leads to some new information that might show us routes that are not known in the present time. Most of all the paperwork seems to point to a lone stretch of coast about 75 miles north of our current location. Terry has arranged for a boat for us to use, a 34-foot cabin cruiser that sleeps 8. Good thing Jake will have his own room. Good thing for all of us. We load the boat and plan to leave for our destination at first light. As the sun breaks over the horizon, everybody is up, full of excitement and ready to go. We set out on our trip. Jake takes the helm and points the boat north. I'm on the rail of the bow, and the wind is in my face with an occasional spray of ocean. Both are warm and fill me with energy and excitement. Jake has me take the wheel as he uses the GPS to guide us to the starting point. As we draw closer and closer to shore, it becomes very shallow, and we must anchor about 25 feet out. Jake grabs a couple of duffel bags that are full of gear and waterproof. Okay, ladies, let's hit it. Our adventure awaits. When Terry speaks up, we're 25 feet from shore, and there are sharks, alligators, and who knows what else in there. I'm not getting in that water. When out of nowhere, Gabrielle jumps into the surf with a "let's go" whim. She is off with Jake, and I'm the next one in. Let's go, Terry. Or Are you staying by yourself? Carrie finally closes her eyes and jumps into the water with a loud yell. As we gather on the beach, Jake has already started plotting out a search pattern. Okay, ladies, we are going to head in 2 different directions, staying in pairs and never leaving each other's side. As Gabrielle and I grab our map and backpacks, we head west, while Jake and Carrie head east. Not long and we are out of sight of the other 2. Both groups have metal detectors, and we use them in hope that a part of the ship might be found, a cannon bell or anchor, whatever was made of metal. Not long before the first contact on the metal detector, unfortunately, is an old metal can. Not exactly the treasure we have been searching for. So on we went, and after several hours we heard Jake yelling at us. We start back to meet up with the other 2. Jake tells us, we ran out of beach, so we will have to plan a new search pattern. We decide to build a fire and have lunch before heading out. As we are eating from nowhere, a couple of surly-looking guys come up to us. What you people doing out here in the middle of nowhere? As the 3 of us girls become very nervous, the surly guys start to move closer. One of them says, "The 4 of you all by yourselves out here? There's no help and it can get dangerous, very dangerous." One of them reaches for Gabrielle's backpack. "What we got here? Some pretty little items you all trying to hide?" Gabrielle yells out, "Leave my stuff alone." And the one guy grabs her pack and tries to wrestle it away from her, while the other guy pulls a knife and says, "You might want to let that pack go and stay out of our way." With that, our hero, Jake, stands up and says, "It's you 2 that will want to stay out of our way." And he opens his shirt and shows his .357 revolver tucked in his waist. Oh, stay out of our way means leave now. With that, the 2 of them disappear into the brush, taking a trail that was hidden to the naked eye. Jake follows and sees that this trail goes along parallel to the coastline. This is our new search route. It opens up and shows a whole new area. We all follow Jake as he leads on a trail that travels along the coastline, but is 150-200 yards offshore and hidden by the thick brush. As we follow the path, it is different from the trail that we were on earlier. It was open to the ocean and not very long in either direction. This trail was full of inlets and thick brush covering the view in all directions. So much to look at and discover. We soon have gone several miles, and as the sun begins to set, we decide to make camp for the night. Jake starts a fire, and Gabrielle and Tina fix dinner. As Jake and I get the maps out and start figuring out where we are and the plan for searching tomorrow. From the moonlight, it seems that we have stopped by a large inlet that might have been the mouth of a river in the past. A huge tree by the inlet sparks a memory of an entry in one of the ledger pages. The entry speaks of a river where the captain, Antonio, and a few of his crew were exploring, where they might take some supplies for future use. We think all of this might be code for a place to run a skiff full of treasures aground and hide this treasure until they can come for it later. Or in this case, about 700 years later. As the sun rises the next morning, we are full of anticipation and we start up the inlet. Though the land is dry and it's easy to see that this used to be all covered by water as a river. From the maps and the terrain of the land, we reconstruct what we think is the most provable layout from centuries past. As we explore the many crooks and crannies of the long dried-up riverbed, we use metal detectors and compare the maps of long ago to what the land looks like now. The day begins to ease to night as we light the lanterns, and in the low glow of the setting sun, the horizon seems to change just a few hundred yards off the riverbed. Although very excited, we decided to wait until morning to check out this promising sight, as we are exhausted. We wake to the sun as it illuminates the land and the area of the ridge on the horizon that shows signs of a place to begin our search. After sectioning off the area, we start by using the metal detectors. Hours of digging and sifting Sand seems to find very little traces of anything that might be part of a ship, and certainly no treasures. When we're about ready to take a break for lunch, one of the metal detectors gives a slight hint of a reading of metal. This reaction could mean many things, from a low quality of metal to a small amount of metal to another tin can. After lunch, Harry comes up with another idea. The lower side of the dig is contoured in such a way that if we dig there, it could drop the whole side of the riverbed. Digging top down, the bed does give away and uncovers yards and yards of sand, exposing levels that are hundreds of years old and deep. The first thing we find is the wood of an old boat and what appears to be a bell. At first there was no sign of where the bell might be from. After cleaning and chipping away centuries of rust and debris, we find some lettering, and it does appear to be Spanish. There's not enough of the lettering to make out a name, so on we dig. Soon the debris of decaying wood is mixed with coins and some individual jewels. We have definitely found treasure. Now, if it's the treasure we seek, we will have to look further to find out. Some of the items that are found next lead to a very promising conclusion. It is the Bold Adventure. Over 700 years of stories, fables, and misdirections, and it is here. It's overwhelming. But on we search for the prize. The goal is that of the night gem, and it is within our grasp. Then with the noise of metal on metal, a shovel hits a small chest. Jake reaches down and pulls the chest from the ground. He takes his knife and pries the treasure box open. Does Jake find the jewel in the treasure box, or is it even a treasure box? The answer is in the journal, and only the kindred collector will know the answer. Maybe the keys to one of the biggest mysteries of all times. Bye now.